So we're back, and I'm just going to do an update video real quick because I did miss a verse that I wanted to talk about in my last video, Genesis chapter 1, Gap and Science Rantings. Um, First of all, we want to go to Genesis 1:16 because I put it in the description in the other one too. I misspoke about stars and making stars, and I just said it wrong. So I'm going to cover it again. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. So he made the sun and the moon. And then he made the stars also. But there's a definite difference, is what my point was, between stars and the sun and the moon. And I mentioned I didn't really feel like going to Joshua, but we'll go to Joshua where he says, "And the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of the heaven and hastened not to go down about a whole day." Doesn't say anything about stars. Now, if you believe that the earth is rotating and traveling through space, it's going like rotating at 1,000 miles an hour and traveling through space at 25,000 miles an hour, all the stars would have to stay in the spot too. But there's a definite difference. And what, the earth is just going to stop spinning and no one's going to notice that? Or is it just the sun and the moon stayed? I'm going to say it was the sun and the moon that stayed. So there's a difference. No one knows what stars are. Your science textbook is going to say, oh, there are all these suns and they all must have their own planets and their own galaxies and all this stuff. They don't know any of that. They look up there and they see a bright light in the sky. Same as anybody else. With that, we're going to talk again about a verse that I missed for the gap theory. And the gap theory that I always pretty much refer to is the one of millions and billions of years before Adam. There was other species of man, and there were other civilizations, and there's this gap between Genesis 1 and 2 where this could happen. And it's all because of really this verse. This is after creation of Adam and Eve. And this is Genesis 1 verse 28. "And God blessed them. And God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth." This is where they get the idea that, well, because it's replenish, there must have been something there before. And we'll keep reading. "And subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." Now, basically, we, at this point, were the kings of the planet. I don't really want to say gods, but this was our dominion at that point in time. Now let's look back at this replenish the earth. Okay, we're going to go to the old Webster's 1828 dictionary. Number 1, to fill. To stock with numbers or abundance. It doesn't mean that there has to be something there before. And this is verb transitive. Verb intransitive, it says to recover from former fullness. But the number 1 definition here is to fill it or stock it with numbers or abundance. Depends if it's verb transitive or verb intransitive. So Genesis 1:28 does not mean that there were people here before Adam and Eve. Now, this other gap theory is where you don't know where the angels are created and you don't know where the fall of Satan is. And I don't like calling that a gap theory. I want to call it something else, because gap theory to me is always going to mean that the earth is billions of years old and civilizations used to exist before Adam and Eve, which the text does not show that. The importance of us being gods over this world, though, does have to do with the fall of Satan. It means that Satan was sinful before Adam was. And Adam lost his dominion over the earth to Satan when he sinned. That's why this is, important as you move on to Genesis 3. And that's what I have. I just wanted to cover this verse because I forgot it in the last video. So with that, I'm out.